diehard Steeler fans, welcome back to another episode of the Scho Bro Show. This is Steel Curtain Network's Dave Schofield coming at you Tuesday night. It's a little bit after 9 o'clock. Where else would you rather be, Steelers fans? And with me as always, except when he's not, even though he's got a little bit of a different background this week, is my big brother Rich, Big Bro Scho. I'm ready for it. How's it going tonight?
Hey, I am here in the Outer Banks near the ocean where we will just take a moment and breathe in that sweet smell of Steeler victory.
That's right. That was not what we expected, was it?
No.
You and I, specifically.
No.
Yeah.
No, I did not. The Steelers of 2025 are continuing to be a bit of an enigma for me. So
what is it? It's a mystery wrapped in an enigma, and that wrapped. Well, I don't know. I don't remember the quote is, but yeah. And honestly, the title of the show is that the Steelers hit their stride going into the bye week. There's a lot of stuff that, it's easy to complain about a lot of things going on with the Steelers, but one of the biggest things is I talked about it after they dropped that game to Seattle, that they've got a lot of stuff to fix. They just got to start improving on certain things, a couple things every week, and just try to win the games along the way. My goodness, it just showed, they improved on a few things against New England, pulled off a win, improved on a few more things. That honestly, that game was not nearly as close as what the final score said.
no, it didn't. It didn't feel like it. It was one where I was sweating just a tad at the very end. Now, mind you, I wasn't watching the game; I was listening to the game. But I wasn't super nervous about the outcome, except for a tiny little bit there at the end, where it's like, "Come on, guys, don't give this up."
Yeah, because you're like, well, first they got to give up a touchdown and a 2-point conversion and another touchdown. And you know what they did? I will say I felt that they went into their shell a little too soon. One more drive, one more good stop. They played renegade. You come out and play aggressive, because you know what's nice about that? You play aggressive. Let's say you give up something because you're aggressive. You still had a pretty good cushion, and then you could try to figure out what you're going to do. If you go out and play aggressive one more drive and get a stop, I mean, it's almost an empty your bench time. It's almost like Coach Tomlin doesn't want to ever bring in the backup quarterback in a game because the Steelers are winning by a lot. You want to kind of let them claw in a little bit. But I don't know. I don't know if it was definitely Coach Tomlin, whether it was the defensive coordinator, everything else. The offense, we're still at it. They wanted to really push it. But if I asked you, now this is from listening to things. So you heard completely something different than what I heard. And I'm sure maybe have you caught some video highlights?
Yes, I've caught some video highlights.
I assume that. What if you could say what you felt that the Steelers improved on the most in this last game? What do you think it was?
Two things, one on each side of the ball. The two things that improved was the ability to run the football offensively and the ability to get off the field on third downs defensively.
Those are my two. Those
were the two things that stood out. And those were the two things we kind of talked about, that the Steelers hadn't really done a lot to prove that they could do those things yet. The run blocking was much improved. Now, some of that was the Steelers went jumbo set a lot.
Yes.
I mean, how many times did you see Spencer Anderson and Darnell Washington both lined up on the line out there?
Oh, yeah.
But you know what? That was we're going to line up our big boys and smack you in the mouth. Can you stop it? They couldn't stop it.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, if you look at it here, I'm trying to find it. This is PFF, so it could be off by one or two. But Spencer Anderson played 19 snaps. You saw where Darnell Washington played 48 of 53 snaps.
Yep.
Way more than, more than the other three tight ends combined. Almost double what they were combined is what they did with Washington. And it worked. And that was without Jaylen Warren. Now, when you heard that Jaylen Warren wasn't playing in this game, what was your initial knee-jerk reaction to that?
My initial knee-jerk reaction to that was, okay, did we get with Kenny Gainwell what we felt we got, which was a guy who may not be your normal every down back, but could step in here and there in a game and handle that. And it's exactly what he did.
Yeah. It's basically what the Steelers have been asking of Jaylen Warren for the last several years.
Yes.
3 years, yeah. And that's what you got from Kenny Gainwell. And I think you and I were more on the same page with, which wasn't what a lot of Steeler fans were talking about. I talked about this in the postgame show. People were talking about the Steelers' desperate need for a running back. And then the Steelers draft Caleb Johnson. Yes, it was their second pick, but remember, he was in the third round. He was a third-round running back. And so many people talking about not if, but when Caleb Johnson was going to be the featured guy. Would it be by week 1? And I was like, no. And Andre, okay, yeah, I'm going in to put you in a timeout. You tried to pull this crap in the post-game show. You know what? People pick against the Steelers all the time. You know who else picked against them? Vegas. You need to go away. Go away. Just you want some homer that just picks the Steelers every single game? That's what kind of assessment you want of this team? Seriously, if that's what you want, go listen to Let's Ride. And that's the only show you need to listen to. Jeff will pick him every week. There you go. Other than that, just shut up and go away. Go away. We don't need you here. Because you know what? There was a lot of people that didn't pick the Steelers. Do you know why I didn't pick the Steelers? Because every time I pick the Steelers to win in week 4, they lose. Every time. Every time.
You had, right.
Every time.
Well,
yeah.
For them, it was finally get off the schneid of this whole week 4 thing when you win in week 3.
Yeah.
Like the probability, like if you want to go back through and look at the statistics of the Steelers, especially under Coach Tomlin, okay, it was way more likely the Steelers were going to be 2-2 after last week than 3-1.
Yeah.
So, I had no problem. I picked against the Steelers, and part of the reasons I picked against the Steelers was I'm not seeing on each side of the football, I had things missing that they couldn't continue to do and expect to beat better teams. Things they got away with in New England, had they been the same, New England, they got the win because New England kept fumbled the ball away. Okay, they fumbled the game away. And it was like, if the Steelers can't create those huge number of turnovers and facing a better team, if they don't correct these things, they're not going to win.
No.
Okay, but we saw a much better effort in the running game offensively, which all that did was help the passing game. But the biggest thing overall for me was defensively being successful on third downs.
Yeah.
Honestly, that's why the Steelers won the game. They won the game because defensively they got off the field.
Yeah. All right. Now, I know we were in the middle of talking about Kenny Gainwell, and I wanted to do that before I kind of went on a little bit of a rant. But it's like you can't even give an honest opinion that you didn't think the Steelers were playing good enough football to beat a quality team, and then all of a sudden they do, and you're like, oh, you have to eat crow about that. I'm like, it's not like I said the Steelers couldn't win that game. I say when you wake up Sunday morning with the occasional Monday or Thursday in there, I feel like the Pittsburgh Steelers could beat anybody. The question is, will they? Are they going to win all the rest of their games?
No.
I doubt it. I really doubt it.
Yeah.
They're not going to get by everybody. But you know what? I feel a lot better about a lot more of the games coming up after the Steelers showed what they did against this Minnesota Vikings team without Jalen Warren. Because going back to Kenneth Gainwell, I thought the Steelers had a legitimate number 2 running back when they picked him up. I
Yes, so
thought
did I.
he was a guy that could do that. So because of that, I was like, okay, if the Steelers don't get a running back, it's not the end of the world. And then all these people keep telling me everything about how great Caleb Johnson is, and he very well could be. I hope he is, but he's not the guy that the Steelers are calling on right now. And I felt that Gainwell was someone that could, step up and hopefully not just be like, oh my goodness, the Steelers can't do anything whenever he's out there. People that were complaining about how he was being used in the first 3 games, I didn't get the hate of that either. It's not like, he wasn't efficient at all. I felt that he was good enough, and then he stepped up in this game in the moment when he was given the moment to get more carries and did very, very nice. Do I think he's so good that he should be the number 1 guy all the time now? I do not, because there's a big difference. Kind of like when the backup quarterback steps in and has a really nice game, and then maybe other people can start to figure stuff out. But I feel like he gave himself the label of a weapon in that game. I feel like Jalen Warren's a weapon. He had been their biggest offensive weapon so far this season. I think when Kenny Gainwell comes out onto the field, you don't look at him as like, oh, there's nothing. We don't got to worry about him. I think he carries the label of weapon with him. So I was happy to see him step up when given that opportunity. And hopefully now maybe Steelers fans realize, oh, they actually did have somebody else that they thought would be kind of that guy as they went.
Well, now that, Kenneth Gainwell's put some of that out there, now it just becomes even more difficult for teams if you're running Jalen Warren out there, some Kenneth Gainwell, some like potentially has the ability to keep other teams even more off balance, because it's like you can't just say, oh, well, the Steelers are going to do this because this guy came in. Both of those guys are capable of big plays in the run game, big plays in the pass game. And because they both are dangerous, teams can't take a break. It's not like you're trotting a guy out there who's 3 yards in a cloud of dust. That the defense can say that's what we're going to get from that guy every time. You've got 2 dynamic players that could take the ball to the house anytime they touch it.
Yeah. I think that when you have another guy, see, that's what I felt like Jalen Warren was giving the last couple of years. It's a guy that when you come in, you could be like, hey, this guy's more of a threat in either phase of the game. I felt he was more of a threat than Najee Harris ever was with the Steelers, because I felt Najee Harris more or less was, we're going to run the football. So I like that. And then of course, hold on.
Big,
I gotta get.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, no, the Steeler Chick 46 said Caleb Johnson got a couple of carries to rebuild his confidence. Here was the thing with Caleb Johnson. Early on, he didn't look very well. I noticed rather than hit the line of scrimmage hard or try to get more yards, his first instinct, cover it up with the other hand, don't want to fumble the ball, don't want to lose it. I'm like, you can't, yes, it's good to secure the football, but you can't sacrifice gaining yards for securing the ball. You have to be able to do both. And he got a couple runs, and then he got better after he got a couple more after that. So that I felt he needed to get that elephant off of his back, which he did.
Hit that next one, because I love this analogy. Yeah, big pun saying Gainwell equal D'Angelo Williams. Yeah,
not in style,
not in style, but in the
results.
Yes, in the fact that you have now a guy that can step in, that can as we saw this past weekend with Kenneth Gainwell, he could step in, handle the majority of the carries, carry the running game.
Yeah.
You're not necessarily going to ask him to do that every week, but it's nice to know that if you need him to step up somewhere, he is capable.
And you're right. That was exactly what D'Angelo Williams was. It was like, oh no, Le'Veon Bell's. You know what? D'Angelo Williams, we're fine. It's good.
Yeah.
We're good. So, yeah, that's a really good analogy there. And then after Williams was James Conner.
Yes.
Kind of was early in his career was the same thing. Um, so yeah, and it's funny. Then Big Pun does talk about Caleb Johnson did drop a pass there, which I agree, but he had no snaps the week before. So it was not only was it good to get him a few snaps, but to have him have some success with some of those snaps as they went. I still don't think he's much of an answer in the passing game, which is why I think the other two guys are better options now because either one of them could be in the field and you don't know if it's a run or pass, which I really like when it comes to the running back. Let's stick to some offense for a little bit longer here,
Okay.
hitting with this game. I'm going to say this. Offensive line. I still don't think that they're completely getting the job done in the way that they need to. But I'm going to say that I think that they've gotten better every game.
Yeah, they're trending the right way.
Yeah.
You're not seeing the same mistakes over and over. You're seeing less mistakes.
Well, there was two mistakes in there that both sacks were mistakes because I don't know if you saw those.
They're not playing.
Yeah.
It's one of those where it's like you're not playing totally clean yet, but it's getting a little cleaner every week.
And I like to see them just get some nasty push at times.
Yes.
During that game, like my goodness, one of Caleb Johnson's runs was the offensive line pushed the defense 5 yards down the field.
Yes.
So, yeah. So that was. I felt they were better. They were much more improved this week in the run game, and the pass game wasn't awful. It was, how do I say it? It was enough to get by. Would I like them to be able to hold blocks longer so maybe Aaron Rodgers can go through more reads and maybe push the ball down the field a little bit more? That would be a great luxury, but that's not where they are right now. So right now, the Steelers are managing to get by with the pass protection, and the run protection took a step in the right direction, in my opinion. So to me, I still think this offense can do as much as what the offensive line allows them to do.
I also have the feeling that if we can continue with the run blocking, the pass blocking will actually get better because it will make play action more more effective, and having that run game going can slow that pass rush down. So they need to keep building on. I think they need to keep building on the run blocking, and not that you forget about the pass blocking, but you keep going hard on the run blocking, and the pass blocking I think will eventually take care of itself.
I think I wish it was that simple. I think it can be. I'm hopeful that it is. But yeah, I mean, overall the pass blocking, like the Steelers didn't get very good pass blocking grades from for their linemen. I mean, they only had 2 linemen that had quote unquote pass blocking grades. If you look at PFF, one of which was Spencer Anderson, but the other one was Mason McCormick. I didn't see him standing out in a bad way at all. He actually seemed like he was doing pretty good. He actually was their highest graded in both pass blocking and run blocking from this game, which doesn't surprise me. You saw someone like, say, Amalu with a good run blocking grade, not so much pass blocking. That makes sense. Same with Frazier. I don't know who blew the very first snap of the game, but there was a defensive lineman that they were trying to stunt where he was going to take out the lineman, so where the other one went so the other guy could go around him. And then he realized no one was blocking him, so he just turned up the field and sacked Aaron Rodgers. That was a pretty crummy start to that game.
Yes,
wouldn't you say?
Yes. My first reaction was, oh, here we go.
Here we go. Yep. But that's something that we need to remember with this Pittsburgh Steelers team. Just because something's going bad doesn't mean it will continue to go bad. And just because something's going good doesn't mean that it will continue to go good.
Yeah.
That's not where this team is right now on either side of the ball. So, how was the radio call of the Metcalf touchdown?
Just built and more excitement as it went. It was, it was like catch there, and he breaks. They said, got the silent, got a step, and they were kind of counting. They were kind of counting it down. Pick up the block from Austin. Evades the tackle into the end zone.
Yeah, I have no idea what the TV broadcast was saying because I was just screaming, "Go, go, go, go!" And he went. And sometimes you got to give kudos. He might have gotten knocked down somewhere inside the 10-yard line. But little Calvin Austin, he got down there with a guy that was further down the field than DK and blocked it.
Yep.
Yeah.
So did enough, got in the end zone. I was like, that is why you have DK Metcalf.
Yeah. And I like that they were hitting him quick. I like that they were hitting him on, like on slants over the middle. Yep. I thought that was nice. I think they just saw something in Minnesota's defense where they thought they could get that more from the wide receiver position than they could from the tight end position. I can't say for sure, but that's what they did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or maybe it was just we've got this big wide receiver that's almost tight end like, let's give him a shot at something we would maybe run a Jonnu Smith or somebody on.
Yeah, and the Steelers, did a nice job with that. Anything else? Well, okay, some people were talking about in the live chats. Maybe we should bring it up. Pat Freiermuth, no targets.
No targets.
Only 15 snaps. Whiffed on the block that got the field goal blocked. I don't know if you saw that one or not.
Saw that today and was like, wow, yeah, he really did just whiff on that. I don't think.
Here's one that's interesting. Rands 87, but we'll just say Rands. Muth probably been in the doghouse since he didn't catch that bomb versus the Seahawks.
I wonder if, because I wonder this with a lot of, all players, but you just never know in this. Did Muth not like the international travel? Did he not handle that well?
Yeah.
Some people that bothers more than others.
Yeah.
Who knows? But he just didn't seem like he was totally there and totally with it. And it's almost like the Steelers knew he was there and not totally with it because they didn't play him in that many snaps.
I bet you anything their next game he gets at least 5 targets.
I bet you he gets some targets next game.
It'll be an overcorrection that the Steelers sometimes have a tendency to do. Wait, maybe not the next game. Maybe it'll be the one after that. Remember, because then they play the Bengals, and remember how he went off. Yeah. That was 2 years ago. Went off on the Bengals, and then the next game didn't have a catch. That's kind of how it goes sometimes. But it's still a small sample size, and and that's the danger of looking at just one game at times. Because this is the last game that the Steelers have going into the bye. Very nice hit their stride. You're like, uh-oh, Pat Freiermuth. He must be in the doghouse. He must not be in their plans. It could just be this game. It really could. Now, 2 would be a pattern. So if he doesn't get any targets the next game, then I would say, well, maybe that really is how it is. But just remember, one game does not make a total statement because. Remember how people were throwing a fit over the snaps of Kenny Gainwell versus Jaylen Warren in week 1. Well, in week 2 and 3, it wasn't the same. So, yeah. Yeah, but there was it's funny when you look at all these woulda, coulda, shoulda things that I mean, this game could have just as easily been, you know, you know, 34-13. It really could have,
Could have.
but it wasn't. But here's what's nice: whether it was 34-13, or whether it was 24-21, it's still a win.
It's still
It's
that.
still that.
That's
It's
right.
still that.
Still chalks.
Still that victory.
The Steelers are still 3-1, and the Ravens are 1-3.
Yeah, which is very interesting. And here's what's crazy: I couldn't believe it when I saw this today. I'm like, oh, looks like Lamar's going to be out, and I think he is. The Ravens are 2.5-point underdogs to the Texans in Baltimore.
Saw that.
That's crazy. Because I mean, that's just like people were asking me, oh, did you see the terrible injury with Tyreek Hill? I said, oh, did you how was Justin Fields? I'm being honest with you, I didn't watch any of that game. I was focused on the other game. Wanted to make sure that the Bungles bungled that one away, and that the Steelers were all by themselves in first place in the AFC North.
Yep.
So, just that's so AFC North looking at those other teams, especially this weekend. We're going to be looking at again when the Steelers don't play. So that early play of Jalen Ramsey picking up the fumble and running it back. What was going on? I don't know what everything that was going on there.
I'm going nuts on the radio call, and so were they. And then it's like, wait a minute, what's going on? They're conferring. They're going to take this away. What are they doing? But
I honestly did not see that he fumbled, and I didn't see the moment Ramsey picked it up live because of everything. I thought the runner was down. Next thing you know, I see Ramsey run with the ball. I'm like, go. They showed the first replay, and they were talking about whether or not the ball was out. And when I saw the very first replay, I said, that's coming back. He was out of bounds. I knew it the first time. I didn't know it live because I missed it. I didn't actually see that part of the play live. But when they showed that first replay, I'm like, oh man, he touched that ball while he was out of bounds. Now I know a lot of Steelers fans were upset about that, but they've been on the other side of that rule in the past.
yep.
You can complain about the rule. I don't know what would make that rule better. Because I mean, bottom line is, it's not that if a player touches the ball while they're out of bounds, that it's dead and the ball's out of bounds. It's that when nobody has possession. For example, if you've got a wide receiver pulling down a pass and the defender's trying to rip it away and their foot's on out of bounds, that doesn't make it out of bounds because the possession belongs to the other person. My only thing was like, could they make that like an illegal touching situation?
That's exactly where
Not
I was going.
award the defense the ball, but at least make it a penalty that they got to move back something.
Yeah, that would be the thing to do. The similar to the wide receiver went out of bounds was the first player to came back in bounds was the first player to touch the ball.
Yeah.
You could put it in that same type of category. And
The problem
you
was
retained possession, but it cost you 5 yards or something.
Yeah. The problem was he was the last person to possess the ball, which makes it difficult. Because I thought about that. I'm like, well, could you maybe even make it a penalty for touching it while he's out of bounds? Nah, not really. I don't, for example, people don't like the rule of a fumble across the goal line and out of bounds right on the other side of the pylon becomes the other team's ball. That one I've thought about. I'm like, well, you could take it that if it's out of bounds on the sideline, that it goes back to the spot of the fumble, if you really wanted to. But if it's fumbled out of the end line, like the Colts game was, I don't know if you saw that highlight or not, where he dropped the ball early and then the ball rolled all the way out of the back of the end zone.
No, I didn't see that one.
That would be change of possession. But I mean, we talk about these rules when they come up occasionally. I don't know what to do to make that one any better. Yeah.
Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah.
So sometimes you just got to have rules, sometimes you just got to have them, and even if they don't make total sense, you got to have something in place for that.
Yeah.
I don't think there is an answer to that kind of play that is
Yeah.
the way, that you can sit and say, well, that's the way it should be done.
Yeah. So here's a good question. This is from Brian Mizwa. Wants to know, was he faking the hammy on that play, or was he actually injured that play? I saw some people in line saying, well, yeah, it's funny. He faked the injury, and then later in the game, he had the same injury. I don't think he was faking the injury. My question was it a pull or was it a cramp? Because that he was cramping up at times when he grabbed his, because I was worried about that when I saw him do it. It wasn't that he was faking it, because it was one of those things. If you think you're dealing with cramps, then you don't know that you're actually pulling something, or if it's just cramping up at times. That's the way I took it when he grabbed his leg.
They thought he was faking it on the radio call.
Really?
On the return for touchdown.
Because then he started dancing.
Then they were like, oh no, he pulled one on us. And I was like, okay.
Yeah,
good.
I didn't think that at all watching it.
See, Dave, you'll understand when I tell you this. So, of course, it doesn't happen now. But when I would go to Dad's and take the 4-wheeler up the hill to feed the deer, there were times where I would go to get on the 4-wheeler and my hamstring would cramp. Okay, and it would hurt. It'll hurt. If I do that, it'll hurt for hours, for a couple of hours before it feels right again.
Well,
but I've also popped a hammy before, and know that's the initial hurt is the same for both of them. But let me tell you what, when I popped the hammy, I knew it was toast.
See,
versus when that thing cramps,
yeah,
it hurts like the dickens.
I know, because here in our house, my daughter has a cat. And so we have a gate up in front of her door so the cat can jump over the gate and have its own space that the dog can't get through, because the dog can't jump over the gate. So whenever I need to get something or go into my daughter's room, I step over the gate. And it seems like almost every time I step over that gate, I get a cramp in my hamstring. Yeah. But what I find interesting is it'll cramp, and then it can go away. And then it can come, and then it can be like it's right back. It can fade in and out as you go with that. You're like, oh wait, that's just a cramp. Oh wait, I stretched it, I'm good. And then I'm just sitting there, I'm like, oh, there it is again.
Yeah. And or the other time on all this, I'll do that would do that initially, and I'll tell you what, it would hurt bad. And then my leg would just not feel right. Then I'd not be feeling too bad, and then I'll go home, and going up the steps in the house, all of a sudden it's like, boom, it just comes out of nowhere again, and you're just like, oh. Yeah. And that's what I kind of wonder if Jalen Ramsey was dealing with there on Sunday, was the kind of, that hamstring issue where it was just kind of coming and going. So he was like, no, it's good, I can play. And then he goes out and he plays a few plays, and then he's like, oh, it just tightened back up again.
Yeah. So, but I just don't. I mean, I guess that came for the radio call, because I have no idea why people thought he was faking it. I really don't. Yeah. I mean, especially when he injured it later. You're going to fake an injury in the first quarter and then have the exact same injury later on in the game. That doesn't sound right. Just something doesn't seem right about that. Anyway, we need to take our break. We're going to come back. We'll talk a little bit of defense, a little bit of decision-making, things of that nature. So if you're with us here live, we're not going anywhere. If you're with us here on the audio, stick around. We'll be right back after this break.
Relax, don't worry, no rush, what's the hurry? Relax, don't worry, don't worry, relax. Relax, don't worry, no rush, what's the hurry? Relax, don't worry, don't worry, relax.
Yeah, we got to relax. Don't worry. Hey, Rich, I got to bring something up here. This is a good one because Brent Howe wants to know how serious are the injuries to CA3 and Ramsey, seeing conflicting reports. The reason you're seeing conflicting reports is because it was not a Tomlin Tuesday. It's the bye week. We didn't hear anything from Coach Tomlin. I thought Coach Tomlin said Ramsey was cramps in the post game. Maybe I misheard that one. That's what I wrote down when I was taking notes to do the podcast. That I didn't realize that maybe it was something that was pulled. So we'll see. I know Jerry Dulac put something out about they're not long term, but they could miss a game or two. I really don't know. I think we should just hold off and see.
When CA3 puts out his own Twixter, and says, "Hey, he's good, should be good to go." I'm not so sure that you're going to see him, especially with the bye week coming up, miss any time.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we'll see. I'll be honest with you. If they miss any time, it's probably going to be 2. Because isn't it Sunday, then Thursday when they come off the bye?
I'm not even sure.
Because that's in Cincinnati, the next one. And in Cincinnati's their Thursday night game this year. I know it.
Gotcha.
So so they come off the bye and then they go Sunday, Thursday. So that's interesting. It's funny because Jerry Dulac's getting all his information, but I think he went on vacation this week. He's still over in Europe, according to stuff. So who knows? It's really tough to get it now during the bye week because you just don't know. So let these guys do the things that they need to do. No one's really going to confirm or deny anything for that. All right, so we talked about some good stuff hitting some strides. The big thing that you mentioned before, third down defense.
Yep.
Boy, did the Steelers have that different this week. Because let me just give you some of it. Because I think, what was it? Was it 4 of 17? Is that what I think the report was of it? I've got it here.
Like
yeah. Oh no, sorry. 4 of 14. Sorry, 4 of 4. It was 17 the week before, I think. 4 of 14 for 29%. Of those 14, or of those 10 where they did not convert, 4 were sacks and 2 were interceptions. 4 of their 6 sacks were on third downs, and both interceptions came on third down. That's making a difference on weighty downs.
Yes.
By having splash plays on weighty downs. Because think about it, the week before against Patriots, the only time the Patriots punted in the entire game was when the Steelers had a third down sack early in the game. That was it. This time the Steelers had 4 different sacks on third down and 2 interceptions. That was a big turnaround.
Oh, huge turnaround. But part of it was, and this is just the feeling I was getting by listening to it on the radio, the Steelers weren't, every time the third down came along, dropping back, rushing 4 and dropping into zone.
Yes.
Not that they didn't do that, but they weren't consistently doing that. They were staying more unpredictable with their defense.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, that just helps that you mix it up. If you do the same thing when facing the same thing all the time, teams are going to figure that out and beat you at it. You have to stay unpredictable.
Yeah. I mean, you can do those things a lot. You just can't do it all the time.
Even bringing the extra guys on the blitz here and there, it came from different places.
Yeah.
Sometimes it was a corner or a safety coming, but sometimes it was an inside linebacker.
Yeah, the first sack was third down, and it was Patrick Queen, and it forced a field goal.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so I just felt better overall with the defensive play calling on those third downs. Just thought that the play calling and the players, I think, felt better about the play calling with that, and it just had a totally different feel this week than it did the week prior.
Until about 11 and a half minutes left in the game. Yeah.
Yeah, which we're going to get into and talk about.
Yeah.
But
yeah, we'll get to that eventually. But yeah, I felt once again the Steelers' run defense, specifically against what I call traditional running plays, meaning the quarterback handing the ball off to the running back and them trying to run the ball forward. I felt that the Steelers did a nice job stopping the run. Again, my goodness, the only double-digit run of the game was a quarterback scramble
Yep.
of that the Vikings had. So, yeah, they did give up a 9-yarder in there, but for the most part, they did a nice job of bottling it up. And what helps your run defense a lot is having a big lead.
Yeah.
So that was an important part of it. That really helped, I think. So, and obviously in the secondary, they're still trying to figure out who's available. I mean, my goodness, Darius Slay went out, Ramsey. I mean, there for a while, you're looking at Brandon Eccles and James Pierre that were in there at corner. Yeah. And then to run anything rather than base, you were having to run it with safeties. So that's why you kind of had that communication breakdown where Peyton Wilson had to run down that play and everything, because you were basically trying to just fill in with guys in the secondary, just have enough bodies out there.
Speaking of Peyton Wilson, how the heck does he do that?
I know that was pretty impressive, I admit.
What they say is speed.
There's like 22 points a mile an hour. I saw, yeah.
It's like, and I didn't think he would have a chance.
But I mean, seriously, an inside linebacker ran down a wide receiver.
Yeah, that's saying something. And if you really stop and think about it, he makes that stop. And it ended up costing the Vikings an extra minute off the clock.
Yeah.
An extra minute off the clock because somebody hustled and said, with the idea, I'm going to run that guy down.
And at that time, that's who the Steelers were playing against more than anything. They decided to play against the clock. Now, personally, like I said, I think they did it too soon. So that's.
I agreed. I thought they kind of went into that a little too soon as well.
Yeah.
I understand that at some point it makes more sense to take the foot off the gas a little bit and try to keep things contained, but I thought they started into that sooner than they should have.
The score was 24-6. Now, there's two different ways you could look at this. Did the Steelers win the game? Yes, they did. So did it work? Technically, yes, it did.
Yes, it did.
But here's why but technically, when it's 3rd and 12 and you give up an 11 yards, you technically you stop them on 3rd down. Although, do you consider that really a win in that situation? We talked about that last week. That was a big problem of giving up 11 yards on 3rd and 12, and then the team gets to go for it on 4th down. Okay, same with this. Did you get the win? Yes. But you got to a point after leading 24-6 with about 11 and a half minutes left in this game where your opponent had the ball with a chance to tie it with a field goal or win it with a touchdown. That's not an acceptable scenario that you want to have. Yes, you won, but if you're up by that much where you're going to back it off, the whole plan isn't just to win. The whole plan is for the other team to never possess the ball with a chance to tie or win. And that was a realistic chance with how much time was left.
Yes, it was.
It's not like, hey, I get it if you're giving it to them and there's 8 seconds left and they're on their own 10. That wasn't the case.
Yeah. So then here comes another question.
Okay.
Then, offensively then, a couple of things that were done that didn't help with that.
Mm-hmm.
Getting it to 4th and, I believe the call was 4th and 9 inches.
Yes. Well, you're getting ahead of yourself.
I know.
First, let's talk about the other 4th down.
Okay.
It was 4th and goal from the 3.
Yes.
I'm sitting there saying to the TV, you kick a field goal, you're not changing how many scores you're up. It's still a 2-score game. And now, if it was a 3-point game at the time and you kicked the field goal to make the other team have to then not have the touchdown, I get it. But you were still up 10 points at that time. 10 points. It was a 2-score game. To me, if you're only up 3, that's a whole different story. But you're already up 2 scores. You're down that close. Kicking a field goal still has you only up 2 scores. That was the philosophy behind it. And honestly, I agree with that philosophy.
I did not have as big a problem with that.
Yeah.
Because of that. Now, you still are only up 2 scores, but you change what the 2 scores are,
Yeah.
right? Because now, if you're up 13, then a touchdown, a 2-point conversion, and a field goal, you're still in the lead.
Yeah.
So you can't say it didn't change it all. It does change it.
Mm-hmm.
But I was okay with rolling the dice there. Okay.
Same.
What I didn't like as much was 4th and 9 inches.
I know. I'm not to that one yet. We're gonna get there. Hold on.
Finish
No,
with
because
this one because I want to get the other one.
I know. Because here's the problem. The 4th and 3. I know this was how Jeff and Brian and I were all feeling on the post-game show. I like going for it there. I don't like just saying we're going to run it for 3 yards. When all the defense is already up there because they're only defending 13 yards behind them anyway. So obviously, everybody's a little bit closer. And you're going to try to, yes, you've been running well, but trying to get 3 yards there. It felt like, I heard other people say it, it felt like in that moment, they weren't trying to score the touchdown. They were trying to pin them as deep as possible. And that's not why you go for it on 4th down there. You go for it to get the points, not to pin them as deep as possible.
I don't think they were trying to pin them as deep as possible, Dave. I think the idea was that they thought they could score the touchdown, and the silver lining was if you didn't, look where we had them pinned to.
And honestly, whether they were on the 3 or on the 1, you're going to get a safety with a sack for the either way, most likely.
Correct.
To me, that's where I want my Mount Washington play. I want my Mount Washington play right there.
Yeah, that would have been a good place for it.
Because if he can't come down with it, chances are you're going to get the pass interference. Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah. So
that's where you put Mount Washington on one side and DK Metcalf out on the other side, and you pick which one of those 2 big guys to throw it up to.
Yeah. And bottom line is, you spread them. And they had done that a couple of times where they put Washington out wide and you wanted to see who was there and how they were going to play it. Maybe that's why they didn't run it there, because of how they saw that they were playing it before. So they do that. They pin it deep. And then Big Pun says this: the blown coverage on Addison ruined the strategy. When you give up 81 yards. Yeah.
Yeah.
The only thing that would have made Peyton Wilson's heroic tackle that much better is if they would have kept them out of the touchdown zone. And they gave it up on 4th down too. That's what sucked. Yeah. They stopped it for that long and then they still gave it up. Then they get back and they're only up 3. They get the onside kick. So they're already at midfield. They're actually already on basically the right side of the field. They were in Vikings territory. So Rich, 4th and 9 inches. I'm going to see if I can get you the exact time on the clock. The exact time on the clock, I do believe, was 1:08. 1:08 on the clock, 4th and 9 inches on the Minnesota 40-yard line. Now you may go.
Why in the world would you? Okay, I didn't like the whole we line up late to begin with and just try
Yeah.
to draw them off sides. Honestly, if you're going to try and draw them off sides, line up Connor Hayward behind center
Yeah.
again and actually make it look like you're going to do that.
Yeah.
But then what infuriated me even more was that we just then kicked the ball down the field 60 yards and gave it to him out at the 20.
Yeah.
We didn't even try. We didn't even try.
They
to
were
pin 'em.
more afraid of the block, the punt block. And no, and see, but that's what I know this because one of the last plays I ever had as a coach was a punt like this, where the other team's going to be flying at you for a block, and what you say to your punting team is, "Don't worry about coverage. We're going to kick it out of the end zone. You focus 100% on not letting it get blocked." So I understand that, but my thing is, angle it even. Angle it out at the 10-yard line. You know what I'm saying?
That's what I was saying. It was
Yeah. And if you end up you don't get the angle right and it's a touchback, whoop-de-doo.
right. But we
Whoop-de-doo.
didn't even try.
But you should at least try to knock it. Like I said, no one does a corner coffin anymore. But no, try to angle it out of bounds at the 5 or 10-yard line. And if it's a touchback, then it's at the 20, which you would have done anyway. But so I get that if you're saying, I don't want our punt team focusing on coverage. I want our punt team focusing on not on blocking. Blocking them.
That part I get. That's not the problem. The problem is the kick itself. If you're going to concentrate and put everybody in a block and not worry about covering the punt, doesn't mean that you still can't have your punter punt the ball strategically.
Yeah. So do you think they should have gone for it?
Yes.
I'll be honest with you. I think their higher probability was letting Boz knock through a 60-yarder. 58-yarder.
I don't. I think your higher probability was to line Connor Hayward up as the quarterback, line up Mount Washington as the fullback, Aaron Rodgers as the tailback, snap the ball and let Mount Washington run forward and push Connor Hayward forward.
My thing is, the biggest issue I have of that in that moment is it goes back to when I was spooning Brian Anthony Davis at the Bills game, when you were there with your daughter, and I got so frustrated when the Steelers got a big takeaway and they came out and they ran Wildcat. And what happened on that play? They fumbled it away. Because you had a guy who had never really handed the ball off before in an NFL game, handing the ball off in a key moment. That's where, so I'm not sure that I would have liked that play either. Because next thing you know, they fumble. I mean, it's fourth down. Whether you fumble or not isn't the end of the world because they're going to get you're just not going to get the first down. Just like you would if they just stuffed you. Yeah. So to me, it's like I'm trying to, was it last year? I can't remember what game it was. When the Steelers tried to draw the opponent off sides in punt formation. And I said, if you're going to try to draw them off sides, do it with your offense, the unit that's better and more equipped to do that. And that's kind of like if you're going to throw the ball in that situation. It was last year when they brought in Justin Fields on one of them just for him to chuck it deep. I'm like, if you knew you were going to throw the ball on fourth down anyway, then you should have kept Russell Wilson there, throw it deep. Why not have the person that's used to doing those kind of things do those kind of things? That's one of those things. You're sitting there with 4th and 9 inches, and you got to figure out exactly what's going on. That's one of those that almost no matter what you do, you're going to be questioned for it. If the result doesn't go your way.
I don't see that if you've been practicing the Now, infamous tush push of Philadelphia, if you've been
Yeah.
practicing that and you've been using Connor Hayward and doing that, and you've already used it in this game, why
Yeah.
wouldn't you use it again?
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't have him hand it off. I'd have him take the snap and get pushed by Washington.
That's what I said.
Oh, you said hand it to Washington.
No. I said you take the ball and you have Washington lined up at fullback and you
Yeah.
snap it to Hayward and you have Washington run up and push him through.
Yeah. Like he wasn't even, I don't think he was even fully at fullback. I think he was in there, Washington, when
Yeah.
they did it. You couldn't really see it because the TV wasn't ready for it. They didn't show you. The play was over by the time they turned the camera away from whatever they were looking at as a replay or something, or somebody on the sideline or something like that. Which royally sucked. But I think they could have been there. There was a number of things they could have done there. But what would what would have been even better? To get the first down on third down, then you don't have to worry about it.
Would have been nice, but
Yep.
when those things happen, that's why
Yep.
you pay people.
It is.
Why
So
coaches get paid to make decisions and players get paid to make plays.
see, and the reason I was like, why even punt it if you're going to punt it for a touchback and then get it at the 20? There's so much time left. The time it takes to punt it's not going to help you. And you could line up at the 20, and in literally one play they could have got the ball right to where that would have been otherwise. How many times have we seen that from the Steelers? You're like, oh, they punted. Oh, wow. One or two plays later, they're where it would have been if they went for it anyway. I mean, they went past that point.
Yeah.
So yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
Let's just say this: the Steelers had a lot of chances to put that game away earlier than what they did, but they still did it. They got the
did
win.
it.
And you got to
did
come
it.
on here
Got
and
the win.
breathe.
No, there were a lot of people that did not expect the Steelers to do well. The Steelers have not traveled well internationally. They haven't played well when they've had to play international games. Week 4 has been a weakness.
Yep.
There was a lot of reason to question, was this going to be a good week for the Steelers? And thankfully it was.
But I mean, to watch almost 50 minutes of that team doing what they did in that game, and for those people, I love how Jeff called people out saying, you know what? I'm tired of everyone saying about how great of a coach Brian Flores is. Because you know what? The Steelers offense just went out there and took it to him. They did.
Yeah.
Arthur Smith outcoached him.
Yes,
Okay.
he did.
And the Steelers defense was outcoaching Coach McConnell. Seriously, through 49 minutes of this game, the Steelers completely outcoached the Vikings. They outplayed them, they outcoached them. It was everything. So, yeah. Yeah. And it's fun. You know what? This is actually a good point, too. Big Pun said there was so much time left. I was shocked the Vikings did the onside kick.
They just might have felt that was their better, that was the time, that they didn't want
Yeah.
to not get a chance to do it.
Well, and the thing, yeah, which I get. And the Steelers have been running the ball well, so it would have been tough to stop them. Give yourself a little bit more of a chance of getting the ball back. And honestly, it didn't kill them that much on field position when you think about it. It kind of thinks back. Did you watch or listen to anything with the Baltimore Kansas City game?
No.
With a few minutes left, Baltimore scored a touchdown to bring it to within 18 and kicked the extra point. To make it 17 rather than go for 2 to bring it to 16. That's an ultimate waving the white flag.
Yeah, that is.
They kicked the extra point to make it a 17-point game rather than try to make it 16 and say, hey, let's try to make some miracle happen and we only need to get the ball 2 more times. They said, nope, we're going to need it 3 times no matter what. So there's been some wonky stuff like that. Hey, we're up against the clock here and everything. We got to do our big question. Got to do the big question. And this is where it is. It's the bye week. Doesn't matter where the bye week falls. I'm pretty sure this has been our bye week question for a while. And that's this. Don't put your, for those that are new here, don't put your choice out there in the live chat yet until I tell you to, because Rich and I are both going to answer, and then we're going to bring up everybody else's thing. So, Rich, Pittsburgh Steelers through 4 weeks of the season, going into the bye, 3-1. What's your prediction for their final, their final record at the end of the regular season?
Okay. I think that before the season started, I think I had my prediction, I think was 10-7.
Mm-hmm.
And now I think what I'm going to say is that they'll be 10-7.
Yeah, mine was 11-6, and I'm feeling all right about the 11-6. I had them going 3-1. I actually had them losing their game to New England, not to Seattle. When the schedule came out, I actually had them winning in week 4 because they lost in week 3.
Yes.
When I originally did it,
Dave, as we talked about when we were talking,
I'm going to go ahead and put it there so people can get theirs out there.
When we talked about how we picked games, picked this game, and you went on your rant because you'd picked them to lose, and people were Well, I'm leaving it at 10-7 right now, right?
Yeah.
Do I think the Steelers could have the possibility that they could improve on that some? Yes,
absolutely.
I do.
Yeah.
Yes, I do.
I mean, think about it. To go 10-7 right now, they just have to go 7-6.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the 10-7 seems like a very reachable. Then the thing is, let's see if they can overachieve a little bit.
Yep.
And if they overachieve that a little bit and we get them up to 11, 12 wins, then we've had a pretty nice season.
Yeah. All right. I got to get these going or else I'm going to lose them. Okay. Matt Cat, he's got it going 11-6. Then it jumps and I got to scroll again. Okay. Then we've got John S with 9-8. Ooh. So 6-7 down the stretch.
David Poe is the next one.
I was going to say, I'm trying to come back up. David Poe has it at 9-8 as well, but Steeler Chick 46 has it 12-5. Brent, hold on, it jumped on me when I have to try to come back to this. There we go. Brent Howell says 12-5. Outside Steeler fan says 10-7. Afton Forage, she's got 11-6. Okay, there it is. Got to come back and find where I am again. Bigfoot Bob says 10-7. Piggins, you big dummy, has 11-6. Mr. Woodside said my prediction initially was 10-7. Today it's now 11-6. Okay. Joseph Donovan says 11-6. Let's see, what do we got? Jamie Carlo says 11-6. Big Pun says 11-6, but talks about what they're going to do against the Troyes. Frosty the Bear said 11 wins is doable if they play to win for 60 minutes. For 60 minutes. Kathy Ford, she's got 12-5 is what she has going on there. I'll tell you, on Pittsburgh Standard Time this week, if you don't listen to our audio only shows, make sure you're going to look for Steel Curtain Network anywhere you can listen to podcasts. Apple Podcasts is a good place to do that. If not, you can also listen to the stuff on the website steelcurtainnetwork.com. That on Pittsburgh Standard Time this week, Greg and I we're going to be looking. We're going to take the bye week to kind of look forward and diagnose, the next the remaining 3 quarters of the season. I tell you what, it feels good for the Steelers to be in week 4 and being on the rise, because constantly with week 4, that's the setback time. Oh, you got to take a step back here. Hold your horses. You might have got a little bit too far ahead of yourself. And we're not used to this at this time of the year, are we, Rich?
No, we're not. because
Okay. John S says, if I can change, I'm 10-7. There you go.
Okay.
So this is some. It feels good to have the Steelers on the rise at this point. Coming back off the international game, it's kind of nice. It's not terrible having the bye week right now when you look at that. So I already said, make sure you're checking out all our podcasts, whether it's on YouTube or audio only. Make sure you're checking out SteelCurtainNetwork.com. Rich, what do you have that closes out tonight?
All right, a couple things. First of all, don't want to miss this. I gotta give a shout out. Okay. So, Dave, as you know, we sold Renee's car last week, and we sold it to our friend Mike Sanjulian for his son Andrew. Well, what's funny is Mike got to talking to me, and apparently Mike's brother Patrick listens to our show regularly. So shout out to Patrick Sanjulian. If
I remember him.
Yes, you should. So yes, he listens to us. So shout out to Patrick. Look, we've got a lot of good stuff to look forward to here with the Steelers. I also want to real quick throw out there, I'm still looking to sell one of my 3 remaining games I have. I have tickets for Cleveland, I have tickets for Indy, I have tickets for Buffalo. All right, I'm looking to sell one of those 3. Can be your choice. First person out there, to
wants one of those 3. There you go.
Yep. So if you're not sure and can't get a hold of me, you can always get a hold of Dave. But those are out there. Always give the good, what I call the friends and family price to our folks here.
To our SCN family.
SCN folks. Hey, Dave, I'm not sure what I'm going to do this weekend because I don't have a game to watch.
I know.
So it's going to be a little weird. I'll probably watch some other football on Sunday, just as something different, and wish the Steelers were playing. But the Steelers won't be playing this week. I hope they use this bye. I hope they get some guys healthy because it sure would be nice to get the team out there that we've kind of been wanting to see. We've always seemed to have a guy or 2 missing. So Steelers, get healthy, get ready, and get back here in 2 weeks and get to it. Can't wait.
You gotta just chill out, man.
Can't wait.